The judge looked Ryan Reynolds dead in the eyes and said no. No soft landing, no legal protection, and absolutely no sympathy for the Hollywood golden boy who thought he was untouchable. Ryan and Blake Lively walked into that courtroom expecting a quick dismissal of what they called public relations drama, but they left with their hopes completely crushed and a target on their backs. The legal shield Ryan had been hiding behind just shattered into a million pieces. This isn't just a minor setback, it is the moment the narrative officially spiraled out of his control and turned into a nightmare. For months, Ryan Reynolds played the role of the supportive husband, staying just far enough away from the fire to avoid getting burned. He was the observer, the silent partner, and the guy who was involved but not exposed. But the judge just changed the rules of the game in a way that should make his entire legal team lose sleep tonight. There is now a direct, legitimate legal pathway connecting Ryan himself to the defamation-related claims in this massive lawsuit. The side character era is over, and the spotlight is turning toward him in a way he never anticipated or wanted. It all started when Blake and Ryan tried to flex their celebrity muscle to get the entire situation thrown out before it got ugly. They argued that Justin Baldoni's lawsuit was nothing more than exaggerated drama designed to smear their reputations. They did not just want the case gone. They wanted their legal fees paid for by the other side, essentially asking for a massive payout for their trouble. It was a bold move, a classic power play meant to intimidate the opposition into backing down. But instead of a victory lap, they were met with a cold, hard rejection that signaled the fun was over. The judge's refusal to grant those legal fees was not just a financial blow, it was a psychological one. We are talking about millions of dollars that Ryan and Blake now have to eat themselves, but more importantly, it proved the court was not buying their innocent victims narrative. When the judge issued that direct no, the energy in the room shifted instantly. You could practically feel the air leave the room as their lawyers realized this judge was not going to be charmed by Hollywood royalty or swayed by a well-crafted public relations strategy. This was a real legal battle, not a movie set. But wait, it gets even messier for the inner circle. Blake's high-powered publicist, Leslie Sloan, decided to shoot her shot too, asking for a staggering $1.3 million in legal costs to be covered. Imagine the confidence it takes to ask for 7 figures in the middle of a PR nightmare. The judge did not just say no, he essentially told her that her legal approach was wrong and she would have to come back later with a better argument. It was the ultimate courtroom read, leaving one of the most powerful publicists in the industry stuck in a bizarre and very expensive legal limbo. While the legal fees were a disaster, the real bombshell involves what is known as the discovery phase. This is the part of a lawsuit where things go from he said, she said to here is the proof. We are talking about every single private text, every frantic email, and every secret direct message being laid bare for the court to see. For people like Ryan and Blake, whose entire careers are built on a meticulously curated public image, the idea of their private communications being scrutinized by a judge is a genuine nightmare scenario they can no longer ignore or avoid through charm. Insiders are whispering that Blake Lively is already deeply stressed about what might surface once the digital floodgates open. You can control a press release, and you can control a red carpet interview, but you cannot control what you typed in a moment of frustration 3 months ago. Once those documents are handed over, the public narrative is no longer in their hands. The fear is not just about the lawsuit anymore. It is about the potential for accidental exposure of conversations that were never ever meant to see the light of day. The stakes have never been higher for their brand. And then there is the Taylor Swift factor, which adds a whole new level of nuclear-grade tension to the situation. It is no secret that Blake and Taylor are close, but that friendship might become a massive legal liability if Taylor's name pops up in any of the discovery documents. If a single private text from Taylor is referenced in a legal filing, she could be pulled directly into the controversy. Reports suggest Taylor is monitoring the situation with extreme caution, knowing that her global profile could turn this local legal skirmish into massive international headline news overnight. Think about the stakes here. Even if Taylor is not directly involved in the case, just having her messages read in a courtroom would be a catastrophic PR event for everyone involved. The discovery process does not care about celebrity status or friendship, it only cares about evidence. If Ryan or Blake mentioned her in relation to the conflict, those records become fair game for the other side. This is exactly why the legal teams are reportedly scrambling to keep the scope of discovery as narrow as possible, but the judge does not seem interested in doing them any special favors right now. While this legal firestorm was raging, many people forgot about the creator crackdown that happened earlier in the year. Subpoenas were reportedly sent to over 100 content creators, including YouTubers and journalists, demanding their private records. It was seen by many as a massive intimidation tactic, a way to scare critics into silence by threatening to drag them into a multi-million-dollar legal battle. These creators spent months in a state of high stress, hiring lawyers and worrying about their financial futures, while the pressure from the Lively Reynolds camp continued to mount. The judge finally addressed those subpoenas, and the outcome was a bittersweet victory for the online community. He ordered the subpoenas to be quashed, meaning the creators did not have to hand over their data. However, he refused to label the move as bad faith conduct. To the creators who spent thousands on legal defense, this felt like a slap in the face. It appeared the celebrity legal teams applied maximum pressure until people fought back, only to withdraw at the last second to avoid a formal reprimand from the court. The damage, however, was already done to many individuals. This quash did not erase the damage already done to the reputations of those involved in the case. Many observers see this as a pattern of aggressive behavior hidden behind a soft public exterior. While the court did not officially call it bad faith, the public court of opinion is reaching a much harsher verdict. The idea that a powerful couple would target small creators for talking about a public controversy has left a sour taste in everyone's mouth, and no amount of smiling Instagram post can easily wash that away right now. The public is starting to see a side they did not expect. Speaking of Instagram, have you noticed the sudden shift in Blake Lively's social media presence lately? After a long period of silence, she suddenly reappeared with a series of perfectly curated, glowing posts. We are talking about family moments, gratitude messages, and everything is perfect vibes. To the casual observer, it looks like a mother just sharing her life. But to anyone following the case, it looks like a desperate attempt to manage her image while the legal walls are closing in behind the scenes. It is a classic move, but people are starting to see right through the strategy. This is a classic Hollywood strategy. When the news is bad, make the photos good. By flooding the zone with images of romance and domestic bliss, the goal is to distract the public from the gritty details of defamation claims and courtroom losses. Media outlets are already biting, publishing headlines about their long-lasting romance based on nothing more than a blurry photo. It is a calculated move to reinforce the idea that they are untouchable, even when the judge's recent rulings prove that they are very much within reach of the law and the consequences of this specific case. But even the most expensive PR strategy cannot hide the professional cracks that are starting to show. Ryan Reynolds' upcoming film, Animal Friends, was recently hit with another massive delay, pushing its release all the way into early 2027. While production delays are common, the timing of this one is raising a lot of eyebrows across the industry. It is hard not to wonder if the studio is trying to distance the project from the ongoing legal chaos surrounding its star. Nobody wants to launch a major promotional tour while the lead actor is potentially facing a messy defamation trial. Imagine the nightmare of a press junket where every reporter is asking about court rulings, instead of the movie. Ryan is known for his charm and quick wit, but even he would struggle to joke his way out of questions about discovery documents and legal intimidation. By pushing the film back, they are essentially buying time, hoping the controversy will die down before Ryan has to step back into the spotlight. But with the way this case is escalating, there is no guarantee things will be any better by 2027. This delay might just be delaying the inevitable fallout for his career. Behind the scenes, the battle between the legal teams is getting increasingly nasty. Blake's side has started accusing Justin Baldoni's team of intentionally dragging their feet and slowing down the entire process. They want this over with, and they want it over now. They are arguing that the delays are a tactical move to keep the controversy alive in the headlines for as long as possible. It is a high-stakes game of chicken where both sides are waiting for the other to blink, but neither seems willing to give an inch as the case moves toward the next major phase of litigation. Baldoni's legal team is not backing down, though. They have fired back, explaining that the delays are simply a matter of scale and logistics. They were recently handed a massive mountain of documents, thousands of pages of records that they need to review thoroughly. You cannot rush through discovery without risking a major mistake, and they are making it clear they will not be bullied into moving faster than the law requires. This back and forth is only ratcheting up the tension as they head toward a brand new hearing that could determine the entire future of the lawsuit. That upcoming hearing is going to be a massive turning point. Both parties will be arguing over timelines, delays, and the specific rules for how discovery will proceed. This is not just boring procedural stuff, it is the foundation for the entire trial. If the judge grants Baldoni's team more time or wider access to records, it could spell disaster for Ryan and Blake. The judge has already shown he is not interested in playing nice with the celebrities, so the legal teams are preparing for a very combative session where every single word will be scrutinized and recorded. We are currently in the build-up phase, which is often the most deceptive part of a legal battle. It looks like a series of small motions and minor arguments, but it is actually the preparation for a full-scale escalation. Once discovery officially begins in earnest, the dynamic of the entire case changes. It stops being about publicists and Instagram posts and starts being about the cold, hard facts of the law. This is the moment Ryan Reynolds has been dreading, because the facts do not care about his charm or his sexiest man alive title. The truth is coming out regardless. The fact that the judge did not dismiss the lawsuit as baseless is perhaps the most telling detail of all. By allowing it to proceed, the court is signaling that there is enough substance here to warrant a full legal process. It is a direct contradiction to everything Ryan and Blake have been telling the public. They wanted us to believe this was a nothing burger, a minor annoyance from a disgruntled colleague. But the court is treating it like a serious matter, and that should be a massive wake-up call for anyone still defending them without knowing the full details of the evidence. As we look toward the future, the road ahead for Hollywood's favorite couple looks incredibly rocky. They are facing a multi-front war, a legal battle in the courtroom, a PR battle on social media, and a professional battle with their upcoming film projects. Every move they make is being analyzed by millions of people who are starting to see past the curated perfection. The golden couple image is cracking, and for the first time in years, it feels like they are genuinely worried about what might come out next. Their hopes for a quick resolution have been completely crushed by reality. At the end of the day, this situation serves as a powerful reminder that no one is truly above the law, no matter how many followers they have or how many blockbusters they have starred in. Ryan and Blake are finding out the hard way that a courtroom is the one place where you cannot edit the script or control the lighting. As the discovery phase looms, the world is waiting to see what is actually hidden behind those smiling family photos. One thing is certain, the era of Ryan Reynolds being untouchable is officially over, and the fallout from this verdict could change his career forever. The gavel came down with a sound that signaled the end of an era for Blake Lively. The silence from the room was deafening, but the silence from Hollywood was even louder. She walked into this situation believing the industry would stand behind her forever, yet she's watching her once solid support system evaporate in real time. The judge's recent ruling didn't just reject her requests, it stripped away the polished veneer of her carefully crafted public image. Now, the scandal surrounding Justin Baldoni has intensified into a legal and professional nightmare that no amount of PR strategy can fix. The collapse isn't just about a movie, it's about the sudden realization that industry loyalty only exists as long as your position is safe. The judge clearly seemed finished with playing nice when he dropped 3 separate rulings that changed everything for the Lively Reynolds camp. Blake and Ryan Reynolds had approached the court arguing that Justin Baldoni's lawsuit was nothing more than exaggerated public relations drama that shouldn't involve them. They even had the audacity to ask for their legal fees to be covered, which is no small sum in a case of this magnitude. The judge looked at that request and responded with a direct and very unsympathetic no. There was no soft landing or partial victory here, just a straightforward rejection that sent shockwaves through their legal team. This was the first major crack in the armor they thought was impenetrable. While the denial of fees was a massive blow, the bigger twist came immediately afterward when the judge left the door wide open for something far more dangerous. He acknowledged that there could still be a legitimate legal pathway connecting Ryan Reynolds directly to the defamation-related claims in the lawsuit. Until this exact moment, Ryan seemed to be standing safely to the side, involved enough to be discussed but not completely exposed legally. Suddenly, the judge signaled that the Deadpool star could be pulled into the center of the fire. You can practically feel the panic setting in behind the scenes as the legal boundary between their personal brand and this messy litigation completely dissolved. The situation for Blake's publicist, Leslie Sloan, didn't fare any better in the courtroom. She reportedly requested a staggering $1.3 million in legal costs to be covered, only to have the judge shut her down. He didn't just say no. He told her she was pursuing the request the wrong way and suggested a different legal route entirely. It was the courtroom version of being told to go back to the drawing board while the meter is still running. Now, one of the most powerful PR figures in the industry is stuck in a legal middle ground where she hasn't won, but she's losing ground and money every single day. The financial and reputational stakes are reaching a breaking point. Perhaps the most aggressive move in this entire saga was the attempt to subpoena more than 100 content creators, journalists, and online personalities. These people suddenly found themselves asked to hand over private emails, financial records, and personal communications just for talking about the case. The judge finally stepped in and ordered these subpoenas to be quashed, but the damage was already done. Many creators feel this was a blatant intimidation tactic, designed to silence anyone who dared to criticize Blake. Even though the judge didn't officially label it bad faith conduct, the public perception is that the Lively camp tried to use the legal system to bully the internet into submission. As the courtroom drama escalates, a new layer of pressure is building that involves the biggest name in music, Taylor Swift. Insiders claim Taylor is watching the situation with extreme caution because the discovery phase of this lawsuit is looming. If her name appears in private texts, emails, or direct messages, she could be pulled directly into the controversy. This is the part of the legal process that Blake is reportedly most terrified of, because discovery is not just about evidence, it's about total exposure. Once those private conversations become public record, any hope of controlling the narrative is gone forever. The risk of dragging a global icon like Taylor Swift into this mess is a nightmare scenario. The shift in Hollywood's loyalty has been most visible through the actions of Brandon Sklenar. He was once publicly posting emotional support for Blake and appeared fully aligned with her claims against Justin Baldoni. He spoke strongly about her perspective and seemed certain of the narrative he was supporting. But the moment Baldoni's side responded and the situation became complex, Sklenar's tone changed completely. He has since wiped any trace of the film from his Instagram, effectively erasing his involvement. This kind of selective silence is what many are pointing to as proof that the industry is distancing itself from Blake as the pressure continues to build. Isabella Ferris represents a different kind of vulnerability in this collapsing structure. As a young actress playing the younger version of Blake, she stepped into what should have been her huge breakthrough moment. When she was asked to show support publicly, she likely did what anyone in her position would do to protect their career. Now, she finds herself attached to a controversy far larger than her role, which could be devastating for someone without the industry insulation that veterans like Sklenar possess. Observers believe Blake may have miscalculated how much she was asking of her co-stars, putting their careers at risk to bolster her own public defense. The timing of Blake's recent return to social media has been described as suspiciously perfect. After months of silence, she suddenly reappeared with smiling family updates and messages about gratitude and love. While it looks like a normal glimpse into her life, many recognize it as a classic PR pivot. When legal and reputational pressure reaches a fever pitch, celebrities often emphasize normalcy and stability to distract from the chaos. The message is clear: she wants to be seen as a devoted wife and mother who is completely unaffected by the lawsuits. However, to an increasingly skeptical audience, this curated happiness is starting to feel incredibly fragile and performative. Once the public starts using the word calculated to describe you, the brand of being relatable is essentially dead. Blake and Ryan spent years building an image of being the perfect, witty, and charming celebrity couple who were above the typical Hollywood drama. But as this situation exploded, people expected transparency and instead got a highly managed strategy. The internet never forgets when it feels manipulated by a celebrity narrative. Every interview is now being analyzed frame by frame for inconsistencies. The public has turned cold fast because they feel like they're watching a scripted performance rather than an authentic person dealing with a difficult situation. Justin Baldoni has played this situation much smarter than anyone expected. Initially, everyone assumed Blake and Ryan would completely overpower him because they are richer, more famous, and more connected. But while Blake's side started looking increasingly emotional and aggressive, Baldoni stayed relatively controlled. He allowed his legal team to do the talking, and didn't engage in the same public-facing PR maneuvers. This restraint has caused public opinion to shift in his favor, as people tend to side with the person who appears calm under fire. Hollywood notices these shifts immediately, and casting directors are now looking at the situation with a much more critical eye. The professional fallout is becoming more real every day because at the end of the day, celebrities are businesses. Studios, agents, and PR teams are all watching to see if Blake is becoming a high-risk liability. Ryan Reynolds will likely survive this because he has Deadpool money and massive business ventures outside of acting, but Blake's career depends far more on public image and industry relationships. Once an actress is labeled as difficult or dramatic, the industry can get ruthless very quickly. The quiet distancing behavior we're seeing now is a signal that people are no longer willing to attach their own reputations to her brand while it's under fire. This story has even spiraled into bizarre internet territory, with the hot judge situation involving a defendant with a dead alligator case. While it sounds like a rejected movie script, it highlights a larger cultural problem. We can't process legal proceedings normally anymore. Everything becomes meme content or a thirst trap immediately. This transition into chaos is a perfect parallel to what's happening in the Blake Lively case. The serious legal allegations are being buried under layers of internet noise, making it harder for the truth to surface. When legal cases turn into reality television, the people involved lose control of the outcome, and the public stops caring about the facts. The Kentucky election situation and the attacks on Thomas Massie show that this loyalty obsession isn't just a Hollywood problem. Politics has become a Bravo reunion episode where former allies turn into enemies over minor disagreements. The language being used is that of war and betrayal, much like the rhetoric surrounding the Baldoni-Lively split. When loyalty becomes more important than fiscal responsibility or truth, the entire system begins to fail. People are exhausted by the constant instability, whether it's in their government or their favorite celebrity news. They are looking for authenticity in a world that feels increasingly manufactured by powerful figures. Even the geopolitical tension with Iran feels connected to this sense of public exhaustion. One minute there is a threat of massive conflict, and the next, a social media post claims everything is fine because of backroom deals with Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Regular people are staring at gas prices and inflation, while the powerful play a high-stakes game of narrative control. This economic frustration makes the public even less sympathetic to celebrity drama. When people are struggling to pay for groceries, watching wealthy actors fight over legal fees and PR images feels offensive. The resentment builds fast when the elite seem disconnected from the reality of survival. The story of the $2 billion taxpayer-funded compensation system involving the IRS and Trump's own lawsuit is the ultimate example of the trust collapse. To the average citizen, it looks like powerful people using the government they control to settle their own legal disputes with public money. This is the same skepticism people are bringing to the Blake Lively situation. They see powerful individuals who believe they are above the rules, using every resource at their disposal to protect their own interests. Whether it's a political slush fund or a celebrity legal defense, the optics are devastating. People stop seeing sides and start seeing a system designed to protect the elite. The awkward silence on CNBC during the discussion of insider trading was a moment of pure clarity. You could feel the discomfort through the screen as the hosts realized they were touching a nerve that involves billionaires and government policy. That silence spoke louder than any prepared statement could have. It's the same silence we're seeing in Hollywood right now regarding Blake Lively. Everyone knows what's happening, but nobody wants to be the one to say it out loud, because the truth is dangerous. When the people responsible for reporting the news are too afraid to speak, the public's trust in every institution completely evaporates. Trust is collapsing everywhere, and that's why this celebrity gossip story has become so culturally significant. It's no longer just about who liked whose photo or who was mean on a movie set. It has become a symbolic conversation about power manipulation, image control, and social punishment. The internet has turned into a courtroom where every detail is analyzed for signs of PR spin. 10 years ago, a celebrity could dominate a narrative with one well-placed magazine cover. Today, the audience is far more skeptical and equipped with the tools to find the inconsistencies. Blake Lively underestimated the modern detective work of her own audience. The impending legal discovery is the real countdown to a potential career collapse. This is the stage where the process is no longer about selective leaks or smiling Instagram posts. It becomes about official records and internal communications that were never intended for public viewing. If even a fraction of the speculation is true, the material that surfaces could reshape the public's perception of both Blake and Ryan. There is no opportunity to shape the story in advance when the information is being read aloud in a legal setting. This is the moment when the curated image meets the unvarnished reality, and history shows that reality usually wins. Ryan Reynolds' film Animal Friends has faced another major delay, pushing its release all the way into 2027. While production delays aren't rare, the timing alongside this legal uncertainty has raised a lot of eyebrows. No studio wants their leading man out on a promotional tour, answering questions about defamation lawsuits and leaked text messages. The decision to postpone the project suggests that even the biggest studios are worried about the fallout from this scandal. They are essentially waiting for the storm to pass, but with Discovery just beginning, the storm might only be getting started. The professional cost of this drama is now being measured in years. The tension between the legal teams is only making the situation more combative. Blake's side is accusing Baldoni's team of intentionally dragging their feet, while Baldoni's lawyers argue they need time to review a massive volume of documents. This back and forth is leading toward a new hearing that will decide the timeline for the rest of the case. The fact that the judge didn't dismiss the lawsuit as baseless is the most important detail of all. It signals that there is enough substance here to move forward, ensuring that this story will remain in the headlines for the foreseeable future. The collapse is not a single event, but a slow, painful process. Every major story happening right now, from the courtroom in Hollywood to the political battles in Kentucky, shares a common theme. The second loyalty becomes expensive, people start repositioning themselves. Alliances shift, statements are deleted, and the people who were once your biggest defenders become your quietest observers. Blake Lively is finding out the hard way that a brand built on relatability cannot survive a public perception of being calculated. The intensification of this scandal has stripped away the protection of her celebrity status, leaving her to face a legal and social reality that she never saw coming. The collapse is real, and the silence is final. Ultimately, what we're witnessing is a fundamental change in how power operates in the digital age. You can no longer manufacture a narrative and expect it to hold up under the scrutiny of millions of people with high-speed internet. Whether you are a Hollywood star or a political leader, the public is demanding an authenticity that cannot be faked. As the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni saga continues to unfold, it serves as a warning to everyone in the spotlight. The higher you climb on a pedestal of perfection, the harder the fall when the truth finally comes out. In the end, the only thing more powerful than a celebrity brand is the reality they tried to hide.